All right, guys.
Good.
We're actually here live already, streaming again from CPAC 2021, man. And I'm honored to actually have here Mr. Dan Ball from OAN. How you doing, man?
The One America News Network.
Look, he got the voice and everything. He got the voice. You heard him?
Been the same since I was 16, and that was 30 years ago.
Good looking
It hasn't
guy, too,
changed.
man.
Oh, that's the makeup. Thanks. And you have good lighting.
All right, man. Well, welcome to
Yeah.
Not Black, Not White American Podcast. It means exactly what the name says. We believe that we're all just Americans at the end of the day. We need
Yes.
to get away from all the, titles, all the subtitles.
The labels.
The
Exactly.
labels.
Yeah, we don't want to be divided, man. When we grew up in this country, we didn't really have to worry about that stuff. And now it seems like the media and everybody's trying to bring that back. So it's not black, not white, American. Can you tell us what that would mean to you?
That would mean exactly, because I love facts, exactly what it states on your banner.
My man.
That you're not looking at a label, you're not looking at a race or the color of a person's skin. You're remembering that we're all, whether you're born here or you're a legal immigrant, we're all Americans.
Absolutely.
No matter if you're black, brown, white, yellow, red, it doesn't matter.
My man.
Doesn't matter.
And there's patriots on both sides of the aisle when it comes
There
to
you
political
go.
discourse.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Because there are Dems that I agree with on some things.
sir.
There's Republicans I disagree with on some things.
Oh, I
now,
like
I'm a
this guy.
conservative. I'm a Republican. But let me tell you what, I'll give Republicans hell just as fast as I will Democrats.
Same.
Because at the end of the day, the two-party system kind of reminds me of what's going on right now with the black and white debate.
Yep.
Okay?
Yes.
The black and white debate in this country is all that we are at this precipice of this great big interracial fight, and blacks are versus white, and racism is horrible. This is what I don't think is happening. What's happening in D.C. and the narrative on CNN and the major networks doesn't correspond to what's happening on Main Street USA.
Right.
In Main Street USA, the brothers and sisters that are Americans help one another. When the floods hit in Texas, when the storms have hit in Florida, you will
Absolutely.
see, and I know you remember that iconic image from a couple years ago of a black man with the dreads pulling an old retired gentleman in a small boat or something, but helping save his life.
Yes.
He didn't care he was white, and the white guy didn't care. The black guy was black.
They didn't
saving him.
ask. They didn't
And let me
go
tell
there.
you, I think that's what's happening on Main Street every day. But that's not what certain politicians want us to believe, nor certain media outlets. Why? Because that means ratings, money, and power for both of them.
Yep.
And that's all they give a... Can I curse on this, by the way?
Go ahead.
Okay.
It's Dan Ball, man. Go
Sometimes
ahead.
I do that on Real America on
Go ahead,
OAN.
you're good.
They haven't fined me yet. I don't know what the FCC says about podcasts. I don't know what the rules are about podcasts. But they could give two shits about what American people actually think. They just want a bunch of mindless drones that they can control. And they want to be able to take it and say, here's a label, we put you in this box. They will then pander to you when they're running for election 2, 4, 6 years.
Right.
And then they'll get jack shit done for you. They'll kick the can down the road. But every 2 to 4, 6 years, vote for me, because I have the best of interest for black people, for LGBTQ, for women's rights. And then what do they get done?
Nothing.
Now that's mostly, from my opinion, coming from the left these days.
Yes.
There
I
are
agree.
some dinosaurs in the right that need to go bye-bye too. Don't get me wrong. We need term limits. We got to get them all out of the
Term
swamp.
limits. Ted
I told you
Cruz.
I'm running for Congress, and that is one of my main platforms.
Yep.
Term limits. We need
Yes.
to dismantle the political cartels. And one of the things that motivated me to run was over the last 4 years, just seeing how comfortable our elected officials got with disparaging the American people and talking down to them. Regardless if you're on opposite sides of the political fence, there's supposed to be a certain type of class and tact that our elected officials have when it comes to addressing their actual citizens.
Oh, they got it. There's class and tact to it.
No.
It's we're the elitist. We talk
Exactly.
down to you. We know better because
Exactly.
we got a degree somewhere or we've been here 30, 40 years in the swamp. So we know better than you. So you, good little sheeple, be quiet.
Yeah.
Let us rule you and don't talk back. That's
Guys,
what I get a
for
lot
all
from
the
the left
people-
these days. I get.
For all the people out there saying, when they look at places like OAN, they just say, oh, it's a bunch of racists. I hope you're really listening to this man right now, because everything he's speaking is just common sense. It doesn't sound like racism. It doesn't sound like, anything nonsensical. It's normal American speech, the same things we talk about every day. So please stop judging people out there, get to know people, understand what they're about, and actually listen.
Yeah, and don't forget
Absolutely.
too, guys, besides them calling us racist, they also think that we're Russian propaganda and
Oh,
that we're
man.
owned
Oh,
and
of course.
operated literally by Putin or what. I mean, you can go online.
Sorry
The
to tell you.
conspiracy theories on the left about OAN and folks on the right, they want to make fun of conservatives for conspiracy theories. No. I can tell you, working for Herring Broadcasting Network, which is the parent company of OAN, it's a 79-year-old gentleman who lost his father when I think he was about 15, 16. His mom and his siblings moved from, I think it was Arkansas to California. The young man started taking care of his mother and his siblings, started buying some pet shops and pet stores when he was 17 or 18, turned that into different companies. His sons then did some manufacturing and bioengineering, different companies.
Yeah.
And then a few years ago, they said, there's a gap. there's not enough conservative voices out there. And so they said, let's take a stand. And he created in 2013 One America News. It was one man and his two sons, not a Russian oligarch or anything like that.
Exactly.
And no, President Trump doesn't call and give my boss money and tell us what to say.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, on my show, the owners of the company give me literally, carte blanche. They tell me nothing. They might suggest a guest. I don't have to book them. They will tell me if we get some emails about something I may have said, but they don't say it again. They literally give me free reign, free speech.
Freedom of speech.
Awesome. That's why I love appearing on your network, which I have several times, man.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on
all the time. Absolutely.
Well, and let me tell you, anybody that's out there running for office like you, that is speaking the way you're speaking about unity, but you're doing it in a different way than like the left does with unity, where they're like demanding that you have unity.
Yeah.
You're trying to use common sense and facts, bring people together. You have conservative values, which, by the way, a lot of those values do, I think, transcend over to folks on the left.
I do,
And
too.
so I will gladly have you on my show. I know you've been on other shows. And any candidate out there that's willing to speak truth, that wants to represent the American people, not a party. When I ran for Congress in 2018, I didn't put the word Republican on any of my literature or website. I put conservative because that's what my values are.
Yes.
I wasn't running for a party. I was running for the people.
You're running
and what
for
we
the
need
grassroots.
is more citizen legislators and not career politicians.
Yep. I agree.
That's why you go there for a few years. There's term limits.
Yep.
And then you get your ass back in the civilian world and make a living like we all have to.
There we go.
You don't make a living off of my tax dollar and sucking
You're
off
not
the tax
supposed
tip
to.
Unless we
Yeah.
decide
getting
to run for
nothing done.
president after that.
You're not supposed to
And
make
just-
a
I don't
living.
know. My family told me after I ran for Congress one time that I didn't get to run ever again for anything, but we'll see.
So you know, this woman right here, she's actually the owner and co-founder of New Jersey Women for Trump. And that was the group that they took off Facebook, and then the president retweeted them out and got their page put back up. So
The
very
only
influential
one,
in New Jersey.
3 days before Election Day.
Yep.
All of a sudden, we disappeared. We had about 33,000
Wow.
or 36,000 members privately
And
in
now
New
how many
Jersey.
you got?
At 67,000.
See, when did it come to this? This is what kills me is even our, obviously, allies, folks that maybe don't agree on everything, and our worst enemy should all be concerned about what's happening with free speech.
Yeah.
Everyone should be
Absolutely.
concerned.
Agreed.
Okay?
That's-
When they take down a conservative's page, when they take the president off Twitter, when two members of Congress on the left send nasty threatening letters to 12 CEOs saying, you better look into keeping OAN, Newsmax, and Fox on your carriers or else,
Yep.
and you're doxing and threatening them. This is the kind of shit you see in China
Yep.
or North Korea.
That's
and I'm
the
not
problem.
going overboard.
No,
No.
you're not.
This is, I
No.
mean,
You're
I
probably
only,
going underboard right
yeah,
now.
I've only been on this rock 46 years, but I've never seen this type of attack on free speech in this country
Same.
in my lifetime.
Yep.
And this should scare the hell out of everyone
It's
out there.
extremely
so no matter if
scary.
you're a Libertarian, Green Party, Independent, Republican, Democrat, I don't care. Never voted before. We should all be concerned what's going on with an attack on free speech. It is at the common core principles of our liberties in this nation. Free speech is by far the most important.
And what's funny is, like, our group, I kept it private just to keep the people, feeling a little safe for their jobs and stuff. And we didn't want to be party affiliated. I just wanted to almost be like a support group for the people that I ran into throughout the whole state from traveling who supported the president or who supported his ideology. And
Yeah, America first.
America's
What's wrong with
first
that?
values. That was it.
By the way, how's that
was it.
racist? But everything's racist today.
I'm not
It's
black,
crazy.
man.
It's nuts.
You and I sitting here, they're probably trying to say something like,
Oh, you already
look,
know.
those two whiteys are trying to look a reverse Oreo, those racist. Why do they have the black guy in the middle? Racist.
They're trying to turn them.
That's the
my
kind of shit
God.
they would come up with, right?
I know.
That's how
So,
weird they are.
I know.
It is. It's disgusting, man.
Oh, man.
But it's crazy because our group, we have Democrats, we have liberals, we
There's
have
the
liberals
milk.
that left. We have them all.
Dunk
And
it.
it's unbelievable because everybody's just like, speaking the way they want to speak in the group, and we kept it private. So to be taken down, it was like, what? We're not even that. We don't even.
But isn't that sad you had to keep
Yeah.
it private?
Yeah.
You couldn't even have your public page public so people could sound off.
Yep.
And then guess what? So folks maybe with a different ideal, maybe they were in the more middle, maybe they were far left, whatever, would at least see what you were saying.
Yep.
So then you could possibly have an open dialogue and a discourse. But we can't do that anymore because what's happening, we're creating echo chambers. By them stamping out free speech,
Yes.
conservatives had to go to places where they have to
Safe
hide while they're
spaces.
yeah. Well, no. We're not going to safe spaces. Let's not go there because that's absolute nonsense from the left. But
Ridiculous.
I've already taught my teenage daughter. No, you don't need safe spaces, and you don't get
Right?
participation
That's it.
trophies.
No.
If you don't
Exactly.
get first, you're last.
Exactly.
No, I don't say that. You can't get second or third, but
That
past
goes
third,
true,
forget
though,
it.
man.
Yeah.
Forget those participation
It's
trophies. They're making them soft.
ridiculous.
It's making them
It
soft.
is.
But my point is, by the left and the media and this woke cancel culture mob coming after free speech, specifically targeting conservatives now, which I firmly believe will eventually, 5-10 years down the road, be all of us. They'll cancel anybody they don't like, right?
Exactly.
They're forcing people of both sides and extremes to go into echo chambers. So now, guess what? Not black, not white, American. Americans aren't able to communicate with each other anymore. To talk like we're talking here and discuss, hey, you know what? Let's go over 10. Let's do a lightning round. You're a Democrat, you're an independent, I'm a Republican. Let's just hit abortion, gun rights, immigration, blah, 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 and hit these and see where we agree, where we disagree. And I'll bet you we'd find about 6, 7, maybe even 8 where we'd agree on them. But you're not going to know that because we can't communicate.
I agree.
Because they're stopping us.
That's why we do this podcast.
That's why we did the podcast.
Good for you.
Absolutely. You want to tell these guys where they can see your show, like what time and everything?
Yeah, it's real easy. So it's hard to find One America News because we've been struggling to get direct or something. Yeah,
I got direct
So
TV.
we're on direct TV. That's the bulk. That's 25+ million viewers there. We're on several cable carriers around the country, but they're mostly in rural areas, the Midwest, the South, some coastal states. Nothing big yet like Spectrum or Cox, the big boys, or Dish. Been in negotiations, can't get the deals done. Our bosses are trying. And of course, now with the pressure from the left, it's getting more difficult. I mean, what they're really asking for is when contract renewals come up to like not renew us, just wipe out Newsmax, OAN, Fox. Not going to happen, but it's going to be rough for a while until this goes through the legal system. They're going to bring up antitrust laws, freedom of speech, obviously, and it could go through a couple courts, but there are federal judges that Trump appointed that's going to knock this down. So I think we're okay, but it's going to be hell for a while. Now, that said, I'm on 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Awesome. The show's called Real America on OAN. It's Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. We repeat it some crazy hour at night and on weekends sometimes, but I don't know because I'm sleeping.
Gotcha. Well, guys, you see how amazing this guy is. Love the way he talks. I mean, obviously, he thinks and talks just like us and is of the same frame of mind, and we appreciate that. We appreciate OAN for giving people like us a voice, and that's why I love that channel, man. And we just appreciate you taking your time to come out and talk with us today, man.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate what you're doing.
I appreciate that.
You know, because especially with podcasts, podcasts are now reaching out to the younger generation. Yeah. And we saw that one of the largest voting age bracket, I think average medium was 38 on this last election. And we know that the younger generation, obviously it's the digital generation. Mm-hmm. They're not reading newspapers or even sitting down and watching their local news at 6 o'clock like our generations and up, right? The 45s and up. So to reach those 18 to 35-year-olds, you got to do it digitally. We got to do it smart. And you got to open the dialogue up.
And be real.
Well, and because don't forget, these kids have been brainwashed now. You know, I read an article the other day talking about this all started on 2014, the hard push on campuses. I'm like, no, it didn't. To me, this started about 10 to 15 years ago. And now it's just trickling down from college campuses to high school, middle school. I had a parent the other day call me and tell me they're like 3rd or 4th grader. It's in elementary schools where the teachers were spewing the hate for Trump. So they're getting programmed already. And then all of a sudden, they get the right to vote. And what have they been programmed? So I commend you guys for doing this type of stuff. Absolutely. So hopefully the messaging gets out there.
Absolutely.
Don't get pulled down. I mean, look who's control of the servers. We're going to do our own thing now with our own servers so that someday they can't do what they did to Parler to us.
They already tried to pull me down after the 6 and everything. So, you know, but we're going strong. They haven't messed with the podcast yet. I think we're pretty neutral and good so far. So let's, you know, fingers crossed that it stays that way. And
how's the race going for you?
It's going great. I mean,
raising money, getting good backing.
We're just starting. The race is not till next year, but
you
got
to start early nowadays.
Absolutely. I just signed my first fundraising group, so our emails have been going out this week. We're doing a lot of stuff, man. I'm going to do a lot of stuff for Turning Point USA, so I got a lot of stuff coming up right now.
Good
they just asked me to speak at Rutgers to their chapter over there, so we're going to do some fun stuff, man. And hopefully I'll get on your show soon.
You're going to be on the show. We're going to do a whole series of young Republican candidates for Congress, Senate, whatever. Down the road, we'll pop you in there multiple times, I'm sure.
You're the man.
You impress the hell out of me with what you're doing, just the way you're speaking. And we need more people. And I hate to label, but since I want to break the narrative of the left, we need more black, brown, red, and yellow people instead of just white people running as conservatives so that the narrative can be broken that says Republicans are a bunch of white, nationalist, Nazi, racist assholes. No, we're not.
Actually, Vernon Jones said it great today. He said what you
love
just
Vernon.
said. He said, today he said, they've run out of white conservatives. They need us now.
Yeah. And I can't repeat the names that some of these woke leftists call you and folks like Vernon. Because the words they use about you, because you're men of color and you're conservatives, oh my God, doesn't fit their narrative. Those words are some of the most disgusting words I've ever heard in my life.
I've been very fortunate, actually, and we've talked about this before. I
show.
haven't really experienced
You haven't had it
that
yet?
And plus, because I
Oh,
come
Vernon
from my
has in
family-
Georgia.
Oh, he said he has, but my friends and my family are all like Democrats. So I grew up around a lot of Democrats, and I think they just understand my intelligence and respect what I do, where I haven't really had to deal with that. Not to say that I won't one day, but
This is your first run?
it is.
It's coming.
I'm sure.
Wait till next year.
We'll deal with it, though.
Yeah.
We'll deal
There
with it.
you
But
go.
they'll
Wait
start
till-
coming
Right.
down with intelligence and love, and they're not going to be able
Peace
to
and
handle
love.
that because there's a lot of hate over there. There's nothing but love over here, I promise.
That's it.
No, they seriously don't know how to deal with that when you do that, do
Absolutely.
they? They have
don't.
That's
no
it.
It's
clue.
crazy.
I
And
know.
I think that's why
It
a lot
drives
of people
them
don't approach
nuts.
me.
Kill 'em with
They're like,
kindness.
Oh, man, he's
Kill 'em
just
with
going to be
kindness.
nice. So we can't mess with him. He's going to be nice.
Well, best of luck to you.
Thank you, brother.
You're welcome on our show.
Yes, sir.
I can't speak for the whole network, but Real America anyway.
Yes, sir.
Anytime.
I
Anytime.
appreciate
We'll help
that,
you out.
man.
Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Absolutely.
Thank you
and
so
hopefully
much.
we'll have you on again one day.
Okay, yeah, I can phone it in, I guess, right? Or whatever.
That's
Yeah.
what we usually do.
Not a problem.
Absolutely.
I got her information, so we'll get in touch.
You
And,
just call the booker and we'll get you on mine. I'll come on yours. How's that?
my man. Thank
Thank
you,
you so much. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
God
Dan,
bless.
the
Yep.
man, Ball from OAN. And guys, again, we are at CPAC 2021. And thank you again for tuning in to Not Black, Not White, American
America.
Podcast. Jersey!